broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Here it is. It is the final episode for Biggest Loser. We have made it this far. I am so excited. We have so much to talk about. This is Biggest Loser 17 episode finale. We don't know the episode number, but thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for continuing to watch us as we commentate each episode. I'm your host, Fallon. You guys can find me online at Fit with Fallon. Also, every Tuesday night on, well, not every Tuesday night, but on A&E, Tuesday nights, Fit to Fat to Fit, another fitness show. Let me introduce my wonderful co-hosts.
What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, McCall Hall. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram when sports and pop culture collide.
It's Shaka Smith. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram under Shaka Strong.
And Chris Howard. You can find me at Chris Howard Live. It was the final countdown. It came to me. And LegendaryLivingDaily.com for tips, motivation, and LegendaryLivingTV.com.
Nice. And for our finale, we have a special guest in the house for you. I like to call him, and social media likes to call him, the Dietitian King. It is Alex from Fit to Fat, one of the other trainers and dietitians on the show. He is going to break it down, so please don't get offended. He's just giving you the real. This is Alex. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Very well. Thank you, guys.
I love your shirt.
So
Thank you.
awesome.
Like the shoes.
I know, right?
Hey, I like them too.
It is so awesome to have you here. I
Thank you.
remember during
Appreciate it.
filming, I was trying to low-key reach out to you because we went through so much on that show, kind of similar to what the contestants are going, through on Biggest Loser, and the producers would be like, no, you can't talk to each other. So it's nice that we can finally have a friendship now.
So you guys were
okay.
clashing head to head.
I'm just so excited. I can't wait for your show.
Yeah, your show is awesome.
Thank you.
Mine, I'm a little nervous. I cry a lot. I look like a big baby. So
We won't judge you.
We'll see what happens. Let's get into it. So this week, for the finale, again, another 2-hour episode. This is the first time Bob Harper hosts the finale. So it was kind of nice to see how he acted live on stage, and I think he did a great job. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was super conversational, very relaxed. I think he had a couple mistakes, like a little flubber
cute,
here and there, but he was like it's live
cute.
television. Yeah, it was cool.
He
Very
did great.
nice.
I was actually there for the finale, for the taping, and it was fun to see all the different angles and things that were going on. But you can tell, Bob is very conversational.
Yeah.
Reading a teleprompter is a whole nother beast.
Ball game,
But he did all right.
He did
I think he brings a lot of energy to it. I miss my girl Allison. But he's really carried it well the whole season, all the way into this episode. A lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm.
The only thing I didn't like was there was a little bit of a white space because they didn't have music constantly in the background, so you kind of notice moments of kind of silence. A little bit.
I thought you were going racial there for a second.
No, another show.
That's for the OJ show.
Yeah, that's the OJ show.
Sorry, we do OJ together.
McCall, I recently have gone to a couple of Biggest Loser finale episodes live in the audience, and I noticed the audience is filled with prior Biggest Loser contestants. Did you see any in the audience? Did you notice anything about them? Because the first thing that I noticed was, they were previous contestants who once lost a lot of weight, but they usually gain it back, and that was a little sad to see. They kind of introduced them, and it's like, oh, you gained the weight back. Did you see any of that?
Well, I saw a lot of big ass people in the audience.
Tell us what you really think, McCall.
I don't know if they were previous contestants or not, but There were some big folks there. But no, there were a lot of family members. There were a lot of family members in the audience for the finale, and they had cheering sections. It was very spirited. So I'm not sure if there were previous contestants there or not, but there are a lot of family members. It was a real cool atmosphere.
And I think Richard had even mentioned something about mental health counseling and like wanting to see that be a bigger part of Biggest Loser. So maybe if that's something promoted throughout the next episode, and even more the next seasons, that they'll be able to go back and also reintegrate a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. And even for our show, Fit to Fat to Fit, we had a psychologist, and he's actually the psychologist for Biggest Loser. He kind of told me that, and he kind of interviews us in the beginning in order to make sure that we're stable enough to be on the show. Exactly.
Why do you want to gain weight? Why do you want to gain weight?
They do reach out to him during the show, so it will be nice to see if they can incorporate something like that. That they actually do have a psychologist there to help them, because it is a mental process. And I know Bob did a great job. He would kind of coach them, but it is especially what they've gone through. They were coping eating this food because of different past hurts, Toy with her son dying, Erin with her dad dying and then not being on The Voice anymore and stuff like that. So, hopefully next season they'll show more of that.
And hopefully the theme of this one, temptation, helps them reintegrate better into life.
And there's a big temptation that came in the finale later on, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about Jackie and Colby.
Yeah, that awful cliffhanger they left us with. Right?
I'm still mad about it.
I last episode, I think we were all up in air, like, did Colby make it or not? It was to the point that I was dreaming about Colby. I'm like, I need to watch this finale. So what did you guys think when he came back? He was all suited up. He looked cleaned up. He even took down his beard, which was nice.
He looked good. He looked, Colby was a player the whole time through. He was playing the game and he was playing it well. I thought they all looked good. I'm looking at every one of them and they come out. I was like, oh my God, Sarah's dropping my jaw. I'm looking at the one after Erin with jaw dropping. So a lot of shifts and a lot of changes that happened. But in terms of Colby, I think Steven had the edge in the whole thing. I was watching this in the beginning. I don't know if you remember. One of you had asked and who I had to drop out.
Yeah.
I had planned it for Steven from day one, and Steven comes out and boy, he looked like Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah, right.
He looked like
that's the person. It was on my mind. Like he looks like a celebrity.
And they had shown a picture of him earlier in a couple episodes of him in high school, and that he looked just like he was his high school self.
That's the person.
Yeah. It was crazy.
What's it called? A doppelganger?
Doppelganger.
One thing I noticed about him though, he looked like, and again, I'll ask you, Alex. His cheeks, and it looked like his diet was all bad. So, Alex, you're a dietitian. Now, if you see somebody who's dieted down and lost a lot of weight, and they look a little too skinny in the cheeks and does that mean that their diet was off?
It really doesn't necessarily depict that their diet is off, but if they are approaching, like, if they're pretty heavy and you see their face starting to sink in, because everyone loses weight differently in different regions of the body first. However, I would most likely assume that they're pulling away from carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are going to be the culprit of every kind of physical aspect of their face sinking in, or they're starting to look very stringy, low energy. But in my opinion, I think they're carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So if somebody's doing that, if somebody's in competition, oftentimes they'll lose water weight.
Absolutely.
Prior to the competition, because that's how Lewis looked to me.
Oh.
Lewis looked drawn in. He did not
and that can be good though for competition for a short thing, but for sustainability, that's really not the thing you want to do.
But don't you want those cheekbones to pop?
Well, here's the thing. I read I read a study they did a couple years ago where they found, like, I wanted to say roughly after middle age, the more fat you have in your face after middle age, you look a little bit younger. And whereas if you're under middle age, when you're thinner, you look younger.
I agree
And
with
so,
that.
so some of these contestants were in that kind of gray area of, well, I'm losing weight, but some of them looked a lot younger when they had that full fat face versus,
You know, that really, that's a great topic that he mentions, because like that right there is so true. I can't agree with you more. It varies on the individual though, because like, you know, like I look younger when I'm fatter, and I like to be fatter, but when I'm leaner, I look old.
But you know, the good thing is we have filters on our camera that can change
Yeah,
that.
Facetune.
Yeah.
And highlight and contour applications with the makeup. I mean, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Anything you want.
One thing I thought was interesting this time is Colby comes out, and I already saw the nervousness and the fear, and it was indicative when I saw Hope. When I saw Hope weigh in, and she didn't really lose much, and she didn't look too much different, I knew that when he went home, he must have been on the same plan she was on. And so, because couples kind of do it together. You know?
Her Hope's
So, yeah.
face, her chin, I was like, is she pregnant?
Well, she didn't look like she lost that much
Her
weight. Yeah.
face was so it was so weird. She just had this big
Guys,
under.
There's
She
no
was one of the
nice-
first
and
ones
there's
to
no
leave the
nice
show,
way.
though.
There's no nice way to say that, but I saw it too. It just,
Yeah. Well, her face hadn't changed, but her body had, so it made her face look a little strange, but she didn't change that much. So I knew that Colby didn't go home and kick her butt and get her into gear, which meant he wasn't into gear.
But that's what I was thinking. Maybe she's pregnant or something. I don't know.
Possible she's trying to get pregnant. So she might be.
Exactly.
I didn't see a glow.
It all comes back to the mindset that you talked about. And when I first got into, I got into transformational work. I was a personal trainer before, so this was like 12 years ago. And I found that I'd have to babysit some people, and I go running with them and the whole thing. And then we could go in and look at their sense of identity. Like Steven said, the whole time I was an athlete. So in my head, I'm an athlete, I'm a warrior, I'm an athlete, I'm a warrior. When they can shift something like that at the level of identity, then everything else flows from it. And I think that Colby and Hope, Hope at least still saw herself as a fat person. And I think that ultimately when they come back and they put the weight back on, it's because of who they imagine themselves to
I
be.
agree with you completely. Completely.
Yeah. I agree.
2 points.
So I just stay fat.
Ditto fingers.
So, Dolvett and Jen, I know they're the trainers, they always look great, but wow, Dolvett cleans up so good. Oh my goodness. And then Jen, I mean, I don't really look at girls, but
But how can you not look at her?
Well, she's
her
really
butt,
in shape.
and then and she just has a beautiful smile, nice hair. I'm like, I want to be Jen when I grow up.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
You're not going to grow up, honey. You're going to stay that size. I'm sorry.
Listen, I didn't say when I grow. Okay, when I grow up. Okay.
No, it's funny. During the commercial break, Roberto's son, is it Julio or what's his?
Oh, he's a little cute.
There's Emilio and there's what's his name?
No, he calls him Mijo.
Mijo.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mijo.
so Mijo.
Jacob.
Mijo.
With a Jacob.
Jacob. That's right. That's right. Forgive me. So Jacob told the stage production guy that he had a Valentine gift for Jen. And so during the commercial break, they walked him down there, and he gave her this big, card with the stickers
Oh,
and
he was in
everything.
love.
Let me tell you something. She took a selfie with him and everything, but when he was walking away, he turned back and looked at her butt. I swear he did. I swear he did.
She
So
got
you
that
think- do you think-
snatched waist.
Yeah.
Forecast.
Jen's hindquarters are a national treasure.
No, she's
You called
She's
her
a stallion.
stallion.
Yeah,
She's a stallion.
Yeah.
So
so it's
the
amazing.
young boy, Jen, you think that's going to go anyplace?
No.
No.
Give him 20 years.
But Jacob said he likes older women.
Okay, there you go.
What do you guys think of both Dolvett and Jen kind of, giving the rundown of how their clients did and now at the finale, how they're looking? Do you think they were really emotionally connected with their clients through the whole process?
Yeah, the two things they said. Well, Jen said what her main principle was: just meet my investment in you. Meet the investment I'm going to put in you. And I love the way she said that. And then Dolvett said, he went in hard, I'm not your friend until you become your friend.
friends,
And I love that. So
Yeah.
both approaches were a little bit different, but just equally powerful. And I think, that, both teams bore that fruit,
Yeah, and you got to hear, like, what I felt was Dolvett's, just his maturity in it, having done 6 times the show. He's like, I'm here to battle obesity. So you got the greater purpose in what he was doing, but I think that comes with the maturity of having been on the show so many times.
And Felicia acknowledged, she said, I realized looking back, the things I hated him for were the things I needed to go through.
But she
and I'll tell you this, I kind of reassessed how I felt about Felicia. I think I sympathized a little too much with her. I think kind of like what Dolvett was saying. I think with Felicia, she didn't. I'm trying to say this. Like he was saying, she needed to be friends with herself, but I feel like she was kind of coddling herself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
She was allowing her past relationships that were abusive to let her get away with things that she shouldn't have gotten away with in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, you get picked for the Biggest Loser, you need to go ham, go hard. Like, so now I kind of see it. It all kind of comes to light.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe, Dolvett.
The tough love definitely worked because she had no business being that close to the final.
Exactly.
That close to the fire?
I
Is that close to the
still-
final?
yeah,
Oh,
She almost made it to the
Right.
finals.
I like Felicia, but
Good point.
with her response regarding Dolvett, I still felt a tone and heard a tone of
Exactly. Like, she
attitude.
took it too personally.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've made it this far,
Like,
girl.
look
Chillax.
what he has done for you. No,
Yeah.
my attitude has really changed. I feel like she's not as appreciative.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't get the sense that she appreciated the platform and the moment.
Yeah, I think she was kind of taking it on as, now I went through this experience with somebody else who was like verbally attacking me, and it's like, no, he was helping you. Like,
But
it's
she wasn't able to separate.
I saw a little bit of change, just kind of acknowledging that she didn't need that.
Yeah.
I think her change is incremental.
Yeah.
But it's there.
Do you think they made her say that at the end?
No.
The
I think-
producers didn't come and say,
I think she realized,
"Redeem
how the
yourself."
heck did I almost make it to the final?
Yeah,
I know
she
it's because this guy
shouldn't
pushed
have-
me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I so agree with that. Let's talk about the at-home challenge now. For those of the contestants that get sent home, even though they don't win the grand finale prize of $250,000, they do have a chance to come back to the finale and win $100,000. So everybody that we saw going home, including Felicia, even Lewis, they all were in competition for the at-home challenge. So even though they went home, there's still money on the line that they had to fight for.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to see. I was a little not disappointed, but I felt bad when I saw Toy and some of the contestants. I just felt like, really, like.
Well, I thought she looked good, but I was like, you could have lost a lot more.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's all you lost?
And she had the weight to
She
lose.
looked happy, but she didn't look like she lost.
Well, if you look at the before and afters when they were showing some of the old clips, it's like, well, she definitely lost some weight, so it's
She
good.
lost some, but it's
she
like,
could have really gone to town.
like, if I was on the show, I would have went home and hired a trainer.
Oh,
and
yeah.
continued.
For $100,000?
And you get
Absolutely.
It's an investment that you can recoup.
Investment.
And you get your free Planet Fitness
Yeah.
membership. So there's really no excuse to not have done, and all the knowledge that you learned on the show.
But let's give her she did lose 84 pounds, so let's give her a little credit. She did lose 84.
but how much did she lose
was
on
only
the
84,
show
huh?
before she got sent
But
home?
I don't recall what she lost on the show, but she lost 84. She finished up at 232, and you think, man, you could have lost another 30, 40 pounds.
She could have,
and like,
easily.
And some of the other contestants, it was tough to lose that weight because they got pretty slim. Like Aaron got pretty slim.
She
There's not
looked
much more to go
great.
for Aaron. Yeah.
Two
Aaron,
thumbs up.
shout out.
Yeah.
Shouts out.
Seriously, she looked good.
Yeah.
Jackie,
Aaron
there's
looked like
not
a
much
little
more
pop
Jackie can
singer.
do. So, but it
Yeah.
was like, you had the weight to lose. You could have won that easily.
Yeah.
Toy could've really-
She had enough weight to lose where she could have, again, invested in a trainer,
Absolutely.
paid attention to her diet. She has kids. She had family there. I looked at her support system in the audience. You have no reason. And I'm happy for anybody who loses weight. But when I'm looking at your support system and just everything culminated together, I feel like she fell short.
Fallon, it has to do with the environment that's around them for sure. So, that's why I said early on that I thought that should be taking the show and moving it into a place where they're setting up the environment for people afterwards. And it's, it's easy to backseat drive, but they're doing that with the Planet Fitness memberships and stuff. What I think is really cool is that they're also, now they've got these Biggest Loser resorts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that at the end.
Yeah.
Great idea. I checked it out. I looked into it
Yeah,
because
they have
I
one
think
here
about
in
things
LA.
like that.
Yeah. Calamity
Yeah.
Ocean.
Interesting.
It's $2,500 a week.
But hey.
Look, I just won't eat.
You can do it as a medical expense. They do medical financing and stuff for that.
true.
So
This is true.
it's not a bad idea.
It kind of like takes away the excuses.
Yeah.
It really does.
It really does.
It takes
so.
away all your excuses. And one point I wanted to make, that we were talking about the people and how they could have lost more, but I think that just speaks very loudly about the fact that it's a bitch. It's it's not easy to let go of one's reasons and excuses, and
even after being on The Biggest Loser and having that that national
and having $100,000 roll over in front of your face, it's hard.
But let's be real. Where I live, there's 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness. I don't see a lot of Planet Fitnesses in my area, and we're in LA where there's a gym on every corner. Is there a Planet Fitness near everybody's house?
But even if there isn't, trust me, when you're on a TV show, you are getting paid. You know what I mean?
True.
So they could have used that money for the TV show. And there's so much stuff that you can do at home, jogging, running outside at a park. Like, there's no...
There really is.
I'm just trying to help her out.
And I do wonder, how much they got paid, because I felt bad for a lot of people that walked away with nothing.
Every episode that you're on, and this is kind of like Dancing with the Stars, your payment goes up. So if you can last... you're still leaving a little something. So just to sign the contract to get on the show, you're getting a decent amount of price. And this is so many seasons into Biggest Loser. If it was the first season, you probably don't get that much because you don't know if the network is gonna keep it on for a second season. But those Biggest Loser people, they're getting paid enough where they can step away from work for so many months.
Because for me, I was just like, it was heartbreaking to think that Rob and Sarah or Steve and Jackie would be walking away with nothing. Because to me, Sarah came in, and I was just shocked at her transformation. I didn't recognize her at all. And then you had Steve and Jackie, who
they're
were
going to get sponsored like this. They'll be
Let me tell you something. Oprah and Weight Watchers is calling.
Exactly. They're going to do really well.
We can't underestimate the value of the weight loss itself. I mean, that is huge. That's the real gift. It's not $300,000, because $300,000 comes and goes so fast.
Speak for yourself.
No, seriously. Oh, come on. No, but seriously, money comes and money goes. Everybody in this room will have $300,000 throughout a period of their life.
From your lips to God's ear.
But the gift is, if they're able to maintain it, is the gift of life. And that's what they got.
And we saw that with the Rob, where the doctor came in and said, you have an additional 15 years.
So
that was nice. Because showing him that date, December 14th, 2020. Was
if he continued to go on the path that he was going. What did you guys think of Lewis?
I thought he looked gaunt.
Be honest. Be honest.
I don't think he looked good. I mean, I love those two brothers, but I don't think he looked good.
Chris Howard, go first.
No, you go.
I'll go
first. I said what I had to say.
It was clear they were going for weight loss, not necessarily muscle building. Because here's the thing: if you start to build muscle, like I said before, while you're losing weight, your weight is going to be up, and it looks like they're just going on weight right here. So. He really probably didn't want to try to build too much. He was just doing cardio. So he looked gaunt and he had no muscle definition. But I think he'll look even better in the next few months. I'm sure he will move to muscle building.
Yeah.
So when Lewis walked out on the stage, his suit was working. I loved it, right? But when he went and changed and sat down, I had a chance to really look at him without that HD camera and everything. Really got to look at his body. Okay, a lot of stretch marks on the back, but that happens. But his bones were kind of popping out of his shoulders. He looked malnourished.
Yes.
He looked malnourished, and Lewis reminded me of a vampire.
Yes.
Like, just he was doing too much. He was being too extra, too animated, and he just looked malnourished, and it just created this character on the stage that really made me nervous.
Not like Robert Pattinson.
I thought Roberto was
like
Twilight.
Vampire,
not hot. Steamy
no, not
vampire.
hot. Like going to suck your blood.
Did you think Roberto looked the same way to me? He looked very jittery to me, and I was wondering if they had taken any fat burners. They looked.
I think they were nervous.
I think they were nervous.
They've been on television for a few weeks now, though.
But not live in front of the audience.
And with all that money on the line.
Yeah.
Fat burners are not a bad thing. They sell them at GNC. You can buy a fat burner green tea, whatever. But it looked to me like they were on something that made them a little wiry.
You would think that they'd have tight contracts for things like that, though.
No, because so last season for the after show for Biggest Loser, the host of the Australia version of Biggest Loser, she was my co-host, and she said that Jillian Michaels would flip out on the producers because they wouldn't get the fat burners. They couldn't get it past borders. Caffeine pills and fat burners.
Wow.
Yeah. So they do use
caffeine addiction.
And there's a range of fat burners. Some are safe and some are just ridiculous. So I don't know which one he was on, but he looked like he was on something.
Yeah.
You have a point, because people use that in regular day life. It's not illegal.
Yeah, it could be raspberry ketones. It could be green coffee bean extract, or it could be something with beta alanine and different things, extra amounts of caffeine.
Yeah.
And they both to me looked a little jittery. I don't know if they were if they had actually taken something but it looked like it.
What's the best one?
There's all different kinds.
No.
When it comes to fat burners, green coffee bean extract is very raspberry ketones. These are things that tend to be safer and on the healthier side. So.
Yeah, the best one that I know of is actually Alex.
There it is.
What's
I have the best fat burner market.
us.
It's called Extreme, and it's 100% natural.
Oh, good.
100% organic, and everything that you just said: raspberry ketones, Garcinia,
Garcinia
green
Cambogia,
tea,
very good.
but everything from organic root, nothing from like synthetic blends.
Good. And and that's the kind of healthy fat burner. But these guys looked a little cracked out to me, so I don't know.
Yeah.
No jitters,
That's what you
right?
wanted to say.
Yeah, when they start shaking on stage, there's something going on.
And that whole thing, because we've got, as you look at that, there's this competition that's going on. They're on television, so we know that all that's happening. But I'm led back to something that you said earlier, Fallon. Also, is this whole idea that they could have done better, and you've got all this stuff going on. But that tells us about the power of addiction, because that's what we're really dealing with. Is these people were addicted to food.
Yeah.
So you could, you hold the $100 bill out here, but they've got, that's where they've been going steadily for their support. So if they get in an emotional state where they're feeling stressed out or overwhelmed or whatever it is, the emotions are going to win out over the logic every time.
Absolutely.
It's like, go get the chocolate cake.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, cheeseburger. I understand that too in my own life. It's like, so unless they deal with that underlying issue, and I think that when you said, Shaka, that you pointed out about Richard bringing up about the mental side coming in for next season, I bet you anything that they're looking at that now and that they're going to weave it in. Yeah. And he wouldn't have said it if it wasn't so.
And it seems like they're kind of just doing little small steps to each season, kind of like further that.
Yeah,
so.
I agree. Lewis, to me, he just looked hungry. His cheeks were just like pushed in, and I think Roberto looked way healthier.
Yeah, and he had just a few extra pounds. He looked like he just looked fuller.
He was filling out
But
his
you know
suit.
what? I think Lewis, probably when he went home, he was like, I have to win the at-home challenge.
Yeah.
Because his brother and him, they're competitive with each other. So I think like he was willing to die on that scale. He probably didn't eat.
And he was the one that seemed more motivated throughout the season. He was the one that was really going after it. So it was kind of weird that he went home earlier.
But think about it. I mean, it would be motivation. If I know that all that money is going back to the same family, I'm going to go really hard. Because they walked away with $350,000.
No, but wasn't it? Did they get another 100 on top of the 300, or was it just?
No, he won the at-home prize.
So he won the at-home,
and then
Lewis
won
Roberto won
the
300, right?
250.
250. So they got the combined.
So 350, and maybe they probably made an agreement to split it down the middle.
They had a big family in the audience. So
They even
they got people to take care of. All right.
You guys out there watching, make sure to rate us on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. If you have any question, this is our last show, so please tweet at us. Comment in YouTube. We all, reply and respond. If you have any questions to ask us, please do. Even Alex. Now, I want to just take some time to break away from this finale to kind of go in while we have this dietitian on hand.
The questions.
Now, I'm certified in nutrition, but trust me, I don't have nothing on this man right here.
Gosh.
He be schooling me all the time. So if you guys have any questions to ask him, please.
The basic questions that everyone has. Here
It's always the same, isn't it?
It always is the same.
How do I lose this?
How do I lose the stomach?
That's the key.
Well, I'll ask this for our viewers.
Sure.
We have this new thing called If It Fits Your Macros, and I've seen it. It's a very big kind of taking the wave, and it's this idea that you can eat whatever you want and still look like a Greek god.
Well, you do. So who are you to ask?
But no, I don't eat whatever I want. So I wanted to hear what was your take on that?
Macros plays a huge part of things, but it's not everything. It's not the whole picture. And to really understand and dial in on nutrition, you need to see the whole picture. And the whole picture, which I have been for many years now trying to get in people's minds, is everyone's blood work is different than your partner's. So blood work reveals everything from your macronutrients to your protein intake to your cholesterol levels of the foods that are high in cholesterol, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. It just breaks down your entire diet demand. So, and everyone's diet demand will be differently. That's not taken into part of people's ethnic backgrounds, of the foods that they were accustomed to live by, people's choice of foods, whether it be grease versus healthy and organic. Everyone's partake in nutrition is different. There's people that know how to cook, and there's people that don't know how to cook, and some people choose not to cook. So the true meaning with macronutrients plays a significant role, but it's not the entire picture. And to truly like dial in on the full picture, you must understand what lies beneath the skin. And everything starts from the inside and grows from the inside out. So to know that, there's so many misconceptions on diet demands, on macronutrients, like I can eat everything I want. But if you really dial in, like I was trying to talk to Fallon, is some people have a low blood cell count of white blood cells, and white blood cells play a big role in your immunity system that grow through the bone marrow. And if you have weak white blood cells that play a role in immunity, why would we want to add bacteria to make your body ill? So many bacteria foods that are like Greek yogurt that people think are healthy, or like spinach that has bacteria, or honey that has bacteria, can actually harm you opposed to help you. So it's better to get the truth that goes inside the blood and then pull that and extract that data out and then build your diet from that.
Interesting. So your methodology, and just so I'm clear, because I don't, when you talk about macronutrients, you're talking about how do you define macronutrients?
You know, macronutrients are all the same, and you know, the body only feeds on one substance, which is glucose. And so when we say macronutrients, we're thinking proteins, we're thinking fats, and we're thinking carbohydrates. But the body truly only develops all those macronutrients into one substance called glucose. So understanding glucose is more important than understanding macronutrients.
Got it. So it's all things are one thing, manifesting in infinite diversity. I got that. It's just
Back
opposite.
to school, I gotta absorb all this.
Yeah.
So
You know.
when you talk about, and I've seen, you know, other people talk about high GIs. Can you explain, you know, what exactly high GIs are?
You know,
Is it,
the easiest way to understand GIs is you think of diabetics, and they're the best example because a diabetic can eat lettuce and get fat.
And
Why?
for our viewers, glycemic index.
Yeah,
GI.
yeah.
GI,
Yeah.
glycemic
I
index,
don't
don't like a GI level. GI level is just the level of toxicity of sugar in that sugar substance. So it can range from 0 to 100. There are some substances that go a little bit beyond 100, which will be maltodextrin and sweetener agents that are man-made. However, from natural sugar being at a low GI of like 10 to like something like a plum to something like dry fruit of pineapple, which could be in the high 80s. They all have a scale. And so when we look at McDonald's a hamburger bun that we see as unhealthy, its GI index is 100. It's no difference than eating a yellow spotted banana. So understanding how both GI indexes play in a modern development of nutrition, they both can be the same.
Because if somebody's diabetic, they should not eat high glycemic.
Well, like a diabetic, for instance, cannot eat. They don't have insulin response, so they can't open cells to feed properly. So anything they eat with sugar or unsugar related is going to get them fat. So they don't have the necessary capabilities of producing insulin. So we have to have sugar to create through our pancreas insulin, which opens cells to feed energy sources of glucose, which can be very complex. But the better understanding to make it to the modern person to understand it is, without sugar you have no weight loss. And so diabetics must require sugar through insulin injection to create weight loss. And if we don't have injection through weight loss through insulin, we get fat. So in theory and in science, we must have sugar in our diets to create weight loss.
Okay.
Now, low sugar and high sugars vary on a scale of glycemic index, but why would we want to take away sugar from our diets? It's better to understand and live with it and understand it better.
And I just like that you briefly mentioned the McDonald's hamburger versus the banana, because a lot of people don't realize sugar doesn't need to be sweet to be sugar. So you can have something that's like bread that's high GI. So it's not just a sweetness test. You have to check it out. Sometimes if you don't know, you can go online and find out the glycemic index of a particular type of food.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about sugars, and there's a lot of people out there who, will stay away from white sugar but eat brown sugar, but now people are like, oh, you should just stick to what's the stevia, or like, so what sugar, when I go in my cabinet and I want to add something sweet, what can I add to it? Is honey the same as, having white sugar? What's the difference?
Honey is going to be on the higher level of high GIs, and it has bad bacteria depending if it's cooked or non-cooked, because not all honey is equal. But if it is uncooked honey, like raw, which most people will get to be health conscious, it's going to have a high GI. So it's going to be no difference than having a slice of pizza crust.
And you had told me something similar. Sorry.
She was so depressed there for a second. Dang it, I thought I was eating so well.
I thought I was eating so well. I was eating salmon and spinach, but I didn't have any white sugars or anything, so obviously it wasn't working.
And that's really how to think about it. Here's a big question I have for you then, is what is the difference, like if you do somebody's blood tests, then you make your recommendations for how they eat. Is there really going to be that much of a variance from one person to the next?
It really is, and it's individually customized, because, like, for instance, if I did your blood work, I'd honestly tell you what's going to work in your lifestyle. Your cholesterol's through the roof and all that. you're on the verge, right? But what's going to work in your life? Do you cook? Let's say hypothetically you don't cook. It doesn't mean that you cannot eat healthy in a modern environment of going out to eat daily. You just got to know what foods work for your blood work, and that could be spinach. It could be white breads from like a tortilla from some Mexican restaurant, but they all play the same role in the glycemic index, because there's nothing beyond 100. Understanding those differences and understanding how you work with them through your day, how it's designed to you, you can live comfortably and eat healthy and still lose weight.
Is it true you can never burn sugar off? Because sometimes I'll eat a banana and then I'll go to the gym and I burned that sugar off.
That's not true. I mean, you cannot lose any... How the GI works is it opens the cell in a fast twitching motion and a slow twitching. Low sugar will be opening the cell, allowing glucose to flow in smoothly, which should give you an open window to eat more so that you don't gain weight. So most people will say eat like a yam or sweet potatoes, because the GI levels will be slower releasing, and then the sugar releasing agent will be slower, so you can eat longer and you won't get fat. That is true. However, you must have white starch in your diet, or your GI levels will always be on the lower level where you'll plateau.
Got it. Okay.
And who hasn't heard of that word, plateauing?
Yeah.
So, you eat this healthy diet of low GIs, and next thing you know, you can't lose weight after a period of time. Your metabolic response system must always be erratic, high, low for the course of your life, and that's normal living. Yeah. I mean, we live in a modern environment where everything is fast food, and it doesn't mean that we can't eat at the grocery store. It's just we need to balance it and find a harmony.
Now, for oils, I know you kind of told me the difference for sugars. So I see a lot of people, they're like, oh, I can only have, a certain type of oil. Is there a difference between canola oil? Is there a difference between the canola oil and the, olive oil and the
coconut oil? Like everyone reads the back of things nowadays to try to be health conscious, but it means absolutely nothing if you cook with it. The moment any kind of oil or sugar agent that is a healthy, like agave or honey, touches any sort of heat substance, the heat kills the actual mineral that is inside the oil, and it becomes McDonald's deep fried grease.
So you're telling us that we can cook with bacon grease?
You pretty much can cook with bacon grease is actually quite healthy if you knew the actual benefits behind it. But depending on your blood work, I don't want to pass that information over.
But I've heard there's toxicity related to oils and like a high burning temperature, and that coconut oil is healthier.
But who's gonna really cook their eggs at scorching temperatures? So, but as soon as any oil like olive oil, for instance, for the health and nutritional benefits of it, which is the greatest oil in earth, or coconut oil, as soon as it hits heat, the heat agent actually kills the nutrient value, and then it becomes zero. So then you're just using hot infused oil, and that's no difference in deep fried food.
So when you were getting a fat,
the
Fit to Fat show, it almost seemed like, even when in the losing the weight process, you were eating kind of similar things, but then you were losing weight. So how did that work?
You know, I was really disappointed about that because the foods that you were seeing me eat were actually the foods that were leaning me out. I was showing America how to eat in a modern environment on In-N-Out burgers and cereal, Captain Crunch, everything that we grew up on. But how do you eat that kind of food and get away with it? And that's what the message I was trying to show. However, I did gain majority of my weight eating like a diabetic, eating chicken and spinach.
And avocados.
And
I
avocados,
remember you would
but
tell me
without
that.
the sugar agents. So I always I implied high GIs, which was Captain Crunch, a whole box I would eat, and then I would apply the glucose following, which would be like it would be like a hamburger steak with like 12 egg whites following it for the glucose breakdown. Yeah. But so I had insulin creating through my pancreas being triggered by the high starch, and then having that glucose followed by the chicken steak or whatever I had.
I'm telling you.
But television completely manipulated it.
What would be neat, how I was at first understanding it was that you would put on the weight with all the good food, and then you took it off all in one slew afterwards with crappy food. Yeah. Could have been interesting, but what you're saying is you did it. You toggled back and forth.
I toggled back and forth, but television made it look like the donuts got me fat. And like all my clients know the truth.
Nobody wants to know the truth.
So you're telling me I can go home tonight and eat the biggest bowl of my favorite chocolate Rice Krispie cereal, and I'll
you just
be
gotta
later
know
in
it.
the
Well,
morning.
I wouldn't say to do that without me analyzing your blood. But like you're a very fit athlete right here. I'll tell you right now. You probably after your workout you have a high starchy carbohydrate, followed by maybe a protein shake.
Well, yeah, I do a vegan protein shake, but I do a lot of berries and fruit in there to like.
All right, so there's the GI kicker right there. So the berries that he's eating, regardless, it could be anywhere between a 40 and a 70 GI, which can be no difference than having a chocolate donut.
Yeah. You look like a chocolate donut.
I prefer the berries.
I prefer the berries, absolutely. But
you get some extra benefits from that.
If he was to take out the berries, or if I was to take out the chocolate donut, and he was just to have the protein shake, let's say it was a carb-free chocolate shake, it would all go to his urinary tract, and he would urinate about 40% of his protein level.
Wow. Huh. All right. Okay, so we have to get back to the loser. I need to have another show with you because this is all so informative. Thank you. Okay.
It really is. The one thing,
yeah.
years ago when I tested, I got certified through ACE, and then I did the lifestyle and weight management consultant they had back then. I don't know what they do these days. But this was like 10, 15 years ago. But they were saying that there were over 36,000 different diets registered with the Dietary Association. So therefore, none of them must work. But what you're talking about is not a diet. You're talking common sense. No, not common sense. Not so common sense that's behind everything in the
It's just really nutrition education of understanding the fundamentals of diet. You know, and I think people have just lost it with the media and everything related to carb-free and sugar-free and calorie-free. And I really think they lost the focus of what's really they're actually incorporating. So other things I could go into would be salt, and that's just a whole nother topic. But it's really just myths that are being passed like the telephone game in your ear.
Interesting.
So
right,
without any scientific data to back any of that, don't listen to it.
Yeah. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to hit Alex up at Dietitian King. Also, your website, ProDietSolutions.com. I know it.
That's right.
And then also, reply or comment on YouTube or on iTunes, and we'll make sure we connect you with Alex to answer more of your questions. Now, let's get back into the show. The Last Temptation with the 3 finalists. It was Roberto, Colby, and Steven.
Yeah.
They all looked amazing, and the Last Temptation was worth $50,000. So you know what you weigh when you get to the finale, but you don't know what your contestants weigh. So, Shaka.
Like I said, Colby knew that he didn't work that hard, and that's why I took the money. Because when Hope came back with a very little change, couples do things together. They do. Steven and Jackie, you saw how great they were together. Just boom. And so I knew right away, and I saw the trepidation. He gave us that story about.
He was all over the place. It didn't make sense to me.
It was a beautiful story, but
it didn't
he was
add up.
setting it up to justify why he was going to take that
He
money.
thought about it the night before because he knew if I get a chance to walk away with a lump sum, I need to make it make sense for the country. We already know you wanted the money, Colby.
And the last thing I'll say is I've talked to a lot of people just living in LA that have been on shows similar to that.
Yeah.
And their biggest regret is during the show they had an opportunity to take money and they didn't do it. So I was like, you know what? More power to you.
Yeah.
And you know what? At least he was consistent. I mean, he did the same thing on episodes 1 and 2 where he was you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go take the day at the spa. I'm gonna go take this. So he was taking into those temptations.
Those
every
moments
step of
where
the
you
way.
can sometimes.
If you're Colby, think about it. I'm looking at Steven. He looks like
Well,
a model.
He didn't see him yet. Remember, he didn't see the two when he took the money.
Well, no, not when we took the money, but you
before,
know what people are looking like before they head out. Steven looked great, and Roberto is competitive as all you know what.
Yeah.
Let's play the odds here.
Comey made a smart decision. He made a smart decision.
I knew he was going to take that money. I was going to slap him if he didn't.
Yeah.
That is funny. I really felt when he was talking about his story about, his friend had cancer, but it was like he was just talking in circles.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what does your friend having cancer have to do with you cashing out?
Yeah.
Like, I
Are
don't
you giving
get
them
it.
all that money? Is that
Exactly.
what you're doing?
I was waiting for him to say, I'm going to give this money to my friend who got cancer.
Yeah.
No, he's going to take that money home and put it in his bank.
Him and Hope are going to Golden Corral. Let's stop the game.
I was
You're
hearing
not
dueling
giving to your
banjos
friend.
in the back of my head as you were saying that.
Yeah, he tried to make the point. He tried to make the point that if I can inspire somebody, I did my
He
job.
got his joke. We always miss
What?
it. Sorry.
No, but I told a joke. Everybody missed it. It's like I think I'm the biggest loser.
You're not.
You are far from the biggest loser. You are far from the biggest loser.
Okay, so as you know, Colby cashes out, and then we go to the biggest finale weigh-in, and it looks like Steven is going to win.
Yeah.
Because he looks the best.
He definitely does, but
Roberto
takes it home, and the brothers win it all. And this is the second season that Jen, the newcomer, has won 2 seasons in a row. I left watching The Biggest Loser fulfilled. I really did.
Let me tell you.
I felt like this. There's times that you watch a whole season, and you're like, really? Her? Why? This, I'm like, I'm happy. I applaud. Great season.
It renewed my faith because during the commercial break, Lewis went and walked over to Roberto and they prayed together because he was nervous.
Seeing him.
He was nervous because he's looking at Steven and Steven looks amazing. And I'm telling you, I thought Roberto's not going to get it.
Yeah.
Roberto's not going to
Steven
get it.
just looks so good.
See, the thing is that I looked at Steven and I said, yeah, he's competition, but you got to remember, Roberto was way bigger than Steven.
I was thinking that until I saw some of the clips. I was like, Steven was kind of close.
He was, but I feel like
Yeah.
Roberto was bigger than Steven,
Yeah.
and I kind of had a gut feeling he was going to pull through.
Who do you guys think looked the best? Who made the biggest transformation?
Aaron looked amazing.
Aaron had sculpted muscles.
Yeah.
Okay, she was
No,
wearing that dress.
no, not Aaron.
I thought Sarah looked good.
Sarah
was
was Aaron
good.
looked good.
She was unrecognizable.
Sarah was about to become a country singer, rock star.
Yeah.
She looked like she was going to break
Really
it down
great.
on stage.
Sarah and Aaron, Sarah and Aaron for other girls, and then and Steven looked like a stud that was covered up.
I love
didn't he?
Lauren.
He was like,
I love Lauren competing in the CrossFit Games.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we already started
That's
doing the
cool.
kind of clean
Yeah,
snatch
yeah,
during the.
yeah.
So I think generally
Yeah.
prepared for that. So.
Let's be real. Nobody looked as good as Dolvett.
Nah, it's true. He did look pretty hot. I mean,
Jen, he had competition with Jen. I mean, they both
Jen looked hot.
they made a perfect match, a perfect couple. But
and Bob looked
That's what I was
hot.
just-
They all
I was-
three
I
of
was
them. The
saying-
trio. I'm sorry, I took your line.
yeah, it's okay.
The trio. I'm joking.
Any last comments or predictions for next season?
Oh, boy.
Well, I'll just say, congratulations to the Hernandez twins. They pulled it
Yeah.
out. They
Oh,
pulled it out. So yeah, I'll give them a little round of applause.
Hernandez.
And I'm just looking forward. I love The Last Temptation. I love the way they're going with the series of really trying to prepare them to go for success when they get back home.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to just more of them building on that.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
I know.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Miss you too.
Maybe
Look at that hug at
maybe
the end. You can do
the
it.
Fit to Fat to Fit series special
Yeah.
wrap up.
Yeah,
Think
we-
About the
Get
Fit
back.
is a
Yeah.
spin-off. So we're doing Biggest Loser.
So since we don't have Biggest Loser to watch
So we're
anymore, you
spin-
guys
it's a spin-off.
tune
Exactly.
in to Fit to Fat
Yeah.
to Fit every Tuesday night, and hopefully we'll have a special for you.
And if you haven't seen that yet, she was big.
Sure.
You were kind of hefty, girl.
You were huge.
You were kind of hefty.
Yeah.
Kinda.
But wasn't it funny when you saw me at the doctor's
Oh,
at the
man.
halfway point? You were like, you didn't look that big.
Good job.
I packed
Good
it
job.
on at the
Right,
end.
good job.
I
Nice.
held it down,
Yeah.
but I got my snatched waist.
Hey,
down.
don't ruin it.
Your
Don't
waist
ruin
is
it.
snatched now. Your waist is snatched now.
Hey, great season out to Dolvett and Jen and to Bob and all the contestants. You guys did fabulous. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
enjoyed you guys. Thanks for watching. We, enjoyed you guys tweeting at us, commenting. We will see you next season. Please make sure to watch. My episode is now March 8th, so that's 2 weeks. Make sure to watch fitwithfallon.com. Tweet at me at fitwithfallon. Where can they find you guys?
As usual, you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at McCall Hall, when sports and pop culture collide.
Shaka Strong on Twitter and Instagram, and tune into AfterBuzz. You'll see us all on different shows.
Yes, absolutely. Chris Howard at Chris Howard Live. You can find me also at legendarylivingdaily.com for tips and motivation, and then legendarylivingtv.com for YouTube.
And Alex, one more time.
You can find me at Instagram on Dietitian King, and you can find me at www.prodietsolutions.com.
They can see you. You gotta wait.
Oh, can they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm coming to get
Over
some
here on my
fat
phone.
burgers.
I'm actually working right now with clients too.
We're coming to get fat burgers,
All right,
bro.
we'll
Yeah,
see
there
you
you go.
guys
He's
next
ordering the
season.
fat burgers.
Take care. Thanks so much, you guys.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.